Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Blame It on the Stars podcast. We are more than just your weekly horoscope. We spill all the tea on what's going on in the universe so you can blame your problems on the stars. It is Jade here.
And it's Kara.
And it's officially Aries season. The sun is now in Aries. Mercury is also now in Aries. Kara, how are you feeling?
I am feeling so good. There were a lot of things, I guess, that I finished up this past week, and I'm just so excited for this new moon and also for Mercury to be in Aries for my Mercury return. I don't know, it's good vibes. How's it going for you?
It is interesting. There is some squares happening in my life, but it's fine.
Oh,
spring is here. Spring is happening. Good weather for the time being. Did hear a rumor it's supposed to snow again. Hate to see it, but regardless, things are doing good. I'm really excited about what we're here to talk about this week. We have a new moon in Aries that is coming up, and that's what we'll be talking about today. I do think that this new moon is pretty exciting if you ask me, but other than that, things are going. We've got some good energy. Like we said in last week's episode, which, by the way, in case you're curious about everything that's going to happen in Aries season, definitely listen to last week's episode where we give you that full rundown on everything to expect in Aries season. That's there. It'll be valid throughout the entire season. Definitely go check that out if you missed it. But I did say last week, Aries season is really nice, and it's one to take advantage of, and it's one that you should pay attention to. So, per usual, before we get into the episode, this is your lovely reminder that podcast ratings are a new thing on Spotify. They happened sometime this year. So if you're listening on Spotify and want to leave us a little rating, it really helps us out. And if you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, you can also do that too. Wherever you're listening, you can do that. If there's an option to give a review, reviews are always helpful regardless. We just like hearing your feedback. It is valuable to us, helps us do better. So we're not just saying that because it helps us out, which it does, but like it literally helps us do better. Let's get into the episode. Actually, no, I have one thing to say. I've said this every like very often. I get the time and date from the website AstroSeek, which I love the people at AstroSeek, really do. Let me know where you would rather me get the time, date, and information from. If you have a more accurate information for the transits, please pass that information along to me. With that being said, the new moon in Aries occurs April 1st at 2:24 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, according to astroseek.com. It is possible this is happening on the last day of March. That is possible. You have to change the time to your time zone. Regardless, that happens April 21st, 2:24 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. At 11 degrees Aries. New moons, spiritually speaking, are times of new beginnings. They serve as new opportunities for us to set new intentions so we can bring in some of that energy of the sign in question. It occurs when the sun and the moon are in the same sign, which happen to be Aries. So we're going to be setting intentions around all things Aries. So what are the Aries qualities we're starting to embody? Well, for one, Aries is a cardinal fire sign. More importantly, it is the first sign of the zodiac. So with that being said, there's a lot of that leadership quality situation that comes with Aries energy. We start to see this drive that's really coming from a sense of passion. There's a lot of energy that occurs with this Aries energy. So if you are someone who has been needing to be a little bit more of a leader, really needing to take more initiative in your life, and if you're really needing some more passion in your life, this could be a really good opportunity to think of your life almost as like a blank slate and be like, what new initiatives do I need to bring into my life? What new projects do I need to start? Where haven't I gone? Where should I go? Like, we want to think of this as like that trailblazer energy. What new paths am I going to explore? And also too, like, again, what passions of mine haven't been explored that I could? How can I follow more of my passions in life? If you're someone who's kind of been sitting a little bit more on the sidelines and tends to take a more passive approach to life, like this new moon in Aries is a perfect opportunity to really take life by the reins and really just go after the things that you've been wanting to accomplish. This is about sort of being less of that person who just sits back and lets life happen, and more so that person who's like, I'm going to vocalize what I need to do. I am going to make things happen for myself. It's a refreshing energy.
Yeah, if you listened to last week's episode, then you already know because we talked about this a little bit, but Aries season kind of starts off like the astrological new year. So if there are things that you have been wanting to do, it could be, you know, the New Year's resolutions that you set that you might want to check in on, or it just could be other things that are kind of like coming up in your life that you feel are very, you know, important, relevant, you know, things you feel passionate about. And because of that, I just think it's a really, like Jade said, exciting, like refreshing type of energy, because Aries does deal with the self. And I'm not saying that like in a selfish way, like self-care isn't selfish. Like it's important that you spend time doing things that you enjoy and things that you feel passionate about and things that just like make you happy. So this is really the time to get out there and kind of just start working towards those types of goals. And on a similar note, Aries is a very like independent sign. So some of the things you're doing, you might have to like, for lack of a better way of like saying it, like do it alone. So like, you know, I've shared this before. Like when I studied abroad, like sometimes I had to go sightseeing or try a new restaurant or whatever, like by myself. So I just wanted to mention that too, if you're like, you know, wanting to start doing things or even just to like try something new in general. And maybe you feel like, you know, you need to have a friend in order to do it or need to have someone go with you. Like, yes, that's nice if you have that and if you want that, but also remember that you can, you know, do things by yourself too and still have a really good time.
Yeah, there's a few things I want to say, but going off that, like, it's kind of like that feeling where it's like, no one is going to make my life better but me type of energy, in a way where it's like I could rely and wait and hope and expect things to happen. But if there's certain things I want, like I will do what I need to do to make that happen. If that means going at things alone, healing alone, exploring the world alone, going on dates on your, like by yourself. What is it? Dating yourself. I always see people talking about that. Things like that. That's definitely the vibe of this Aries season or this new moon in Aries specifically. It's like, I'm going to dig myself out of this and make a life for myself. I also want to mention, as Kara had said about like New Year's resolutions and goals in general, if you feel that there's way more physical energy to accomplish these things, and I don't mean that necessarily in like, let's go to the gym and work out, New Year's resolutions to get swole, but more so like, wow, I actually feel really motivated to get out of my house and like go to that restaurant I've been wanting to go to, or suddenly I actually feel really motivated to actually wake up at 5 a.m. and make my bed and do all of those things in those random billionaire morning routines that people talk about on YouTube and TikTok and whatever. That type of physical energy where suddenly your body is in motion again and we're making things happen physically, which is really important and something that I think we forget about. Like, we can have these thoughts and ideas, but without putting them into motion, like they're just thoughts and ideas. Like this new moon in Aries is that chance to not just sit here and think about your intentions, write them down. Like, yes, absolutely do that, but also like actually do something for them.
Yeah, I have been struggling with going to bed early. I promise this is relevant. It seems a little random, but because I wasn't making enough time for myself like during the day, I would try to use like the hours, late at night before bed to like do things for myself or like just, I don't know, scroll on TikTok or look at Pinterest or read a book. And then it got to the point where I was like, okay, Kara, we need to start making time for ourselves during the day. And I just wanted to bring that up too because Jade was talking about like going on dates with yourself. I think that in The Artist's Way, which is a book that I really, really, really want to end up like reading, it's like a whole thing for like creativity and like, I don't know, it just seems exciting. But they call it like artist dates. And I think you're supposed to do it like once a week. You're supposed to have like a date with yourself where you just go and like do something that you enjoy. So I don't know if you've been kind of putting yourself on like hold to prioritize other things. This new moon is a good time to kind of like rebalance and re-navigate things so that you can make sure that you're spending time taking care of yourself and your needs and things like that.
And that means exercise. Like, yes, I just said, like, this doesn't just mean exercise. Like, this doesn't just mean get swole in the gym, like, pump some weights or whatever it is that they say. Like, exercise is a thing. And I don't necessarily mean, like, run a 5K. It could just mean getting enough steps in for the day, making sure that you stretch, whatever it means to you to move your body, whatever feels good, even if it's just a 1-minute workout, whatever it might be. Exercise can be a really useful tool during this new moon in Aries in regards to finding like a place to let off some steam. Right. I always talk about my dad because my dad is an Aries moon natally. And my dad is the type of person who, when he's angry or upset about something, he goes for a bike ride in nature. And that's the most Aries moon thing I've ever heard of because it's using this physical activity as an emotional release. My dad's also a Cancer, so, he's a little moody sometimes, just like me. But it's useful to have some type of physical outlet for yourself to let off some steam, to help yourself think a little bit clearly, right? People always say, like, if you're really stressed out about something, like maybe go for a 5-minute walk and see if like getting that fresh air and that movement helps you. So if you've been looking to bring some of that into your life, this new moon in Aries could be a really good opportunity for you to literally put that into motion.
Yeah, I was actually just thinking about when like quarantine was happening. I used to go on like walks all the way to like the Dunkin' in my town, and it was just so relaxing and so nice. And now, well, honestly, it's been kind of chilly where I am. It's got a little bit warmer, but apparently, like Jade said, I think you said it while we were recording that like the winter weather was coming back. I don't know, but yeah, that's something that I'm looking forward to though in general for like the spring. And yeah, it doesn't always have to be like, going to the gym and doing some very intense workout. Like it can be walking or like, I don't know. I think I have a bike. Like I could go on a bike ride. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of like random things that are exercise that people don't typically think of. So if you're in the mood to kind of like get out some physical energy, or if you feel like you've just been kind of like stagnant, like sitting down all day, like not getting a lot of movement in, that's another thing to maybe like consider. I know YouTube also has like a lot of like free, I don't know, videos for like workouts. I think they even have like Zumba, like dance style, like type of things too. So it's all, I don't know, about figuring out what works for you, I guess.
Yeah, on a different but not so different note. Okay, there's a backstory for this before I get into it, but I've been really in like a throwback music type of mood lately. I think we all go through those phases where we just listen to music from the early 2000s, and there's like 2 songs I can think of at the moment. One being Survivor by Destiny's Child, and the other one being Fighter by Christina Aguilera. I'm honestly thinking about this because they both came up and they were both very similar. And I was like, wow, I never realized both of these songs have such similar meanings. And they were on the same playlist and they played like next to each other unintentionally. Random thoughts on my morning commute. But anyways, both of these songs talk a lot about how they learned to triumph over their difficulties, and through their struggles they became stronger. And I think of Aries energy as that type of energy, that fighter energy, the warrior spirit. This could be a time where, like, I really hate to say that you need to toughen up, because I'm not that person. I'm a Cancer. I cry really easily about everything. I'm really not tough, like, at all. But if you've been needing a little bit thicker skin, if you've been looking to sort of look back at things and be like, you know what, this doesn't bother me anymore, I'm going to get stronger from this. Or even still, like, it could even be, I'm going to be resilient about going after the thing that I want to achieve. Like, use this Aries new moon to develop that warrior spirit within you, that fighting spirit that might be residing somewhere deep inside.
Yeah, I feel like it's about almost like confidence in a way, or like courage, or, you know, one of those other big fancy words for just like believing in yourself, for lack of a better word. But I feel like that's been a topic that's come up in my own life a lot, where people are like, I don't know if I could do this. And we're like, you know, trying to be supportive, but it's also really important to like support yourself. And like I said, believe in yourself, trust yourself. And I know that it can be like, I don't know, I guess it can be hard at times, especially if there's things going on that make you doubt yourself or your abilities or whatever it is. People are just kind of like being negative. This is a good time to be like, you know what, like, I trust myself. I know this is what I want to do. I'm passionate about it, whatever it is. And then, you know, use that, I guess, as like some type of like internal motivator to do the things that you want to do. Obviously, in real life, it's not as simple, and a lot of that was like generalized, but hopefully, you know, if you needed to hear that, I trust that if you did.
It's also like doing what you want for you and not caring what other people think, in a way where it's like, this is who I am. I don't care if you don't like it. I'm going to do me. I'm going to continue to do me. And if you don't like it, you can go. And similarly, I was also thinking about Lil Nas X, who is an Aries, and I just feel like a very, very classic Aries, if you ask me, and I feel like it's really obvious. Think about that energy where it's just like, I'm so me, I'm doing what I want to do, I'm being myself, I don't care if it irritates other people because I'm doing what makes me happy. And that's all that really matters at the end of the day. So if you've been lacking that type of energy, that bravery to put yourself out there and to not really care what other people think, like, hey, take advantage of the new moon in Aries for that. Well, there's only one major aspect to this new moon in Aries worth talking about. Not worth talking about, but just in general. My apologies for that wording. The sun and moon are conjunct Mercury in Aries. Now, let's talk some negatives first, and then we'll talk some positives. Negatives: Mercury in Aries can be really direct, really blunt, and with the moon conjunct Mercury, we see this as speaking about your feelings pretty easily. Moon in Aries sometimes gets really heated very quickly, can be very emotionally activated. With that being said, maybe you might get really emotional, really heated about something and say something that you don't mean. Or not that you don't mean, but you just say it a little too aggressively. So watch out for that during the new moon in Aries. But there are a lot more positives than that. I just wanted to get that one out of the way. Kara, you know, I always pass it to you because you have the Mercury in Aries.
Yeah, I feel like it's like fleeting. Like, you know, your emotions are going to be there. Mercury's there. and it's like gonna be quick, if that makes any sense. So I guess the best advice would be, if you're feeling some strong types of feelings, first of all, they're valid. They also might be very intense and then go away quickly. So it's important to get it out. You just want to make sure that you're getting it out in a way that is healthy and not hurting other people.
Yeah. The positive to this, though, is this is a really good day to speak up for yourself. We talked about this last week with Mercury and Aries and advocating for yourself. If that's one of the new moon intentions you're setting, is to really begin to stand up for yourself more, then maybe this is the day that you really take initiative on that. And maybe actually you do. Maybe you stand up for yourself to someone or to something, or whatever the situation may be.
You could also do it in writing if that is more so your vibe.
Moral of the story is new moon in Aries is think of it as your New Year's round 2. Second chance at New Year's. We really don't have anything else to talk about this week because the new moon in Aries is the only star of the show this week, but definitely listen to last week's episode where we talk all about Aries season, as well as give the full rundown on Mercury in Aries, which had already happened by the time this episode is released. But definitely you're going to want to pay attention next week. I'm delivering you some good news next week. So start off, set a little alarm in your calendar. Not that this week's episode isn't worth the hype, but next week we have Venus in Pisces, also Mercury in Taurus, but I know you're all going to love Venus in Pisces. So stick around because next week we'll be talking about how your love life is about to get significantly better. Anyways, you're going to want to stay in the loop with us as more episodes come and more juicy things come out in Aries season, because trust me, this is a good season. Make sure you're following us on all social media. It is the same on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at BLME The Stars. And if you're interested in listening to this podcast on YouTube and seeing the text alongside hearing our voices, that is always an option. Just search Blame It on the Stars podcast on YouTube and we do show up. But anyways, that's all for now. And we'll see you all next Monday.